Hey guys, I'm actually in Venice right now. I'm in Italy, but I'm taking a break from the sun. So I thought I would share the GoPro Hero 8 and the newly announced Huawei Mate 30 and Huawei Mate 30 Pro. They've just been announced, and apologies for the audio. I'm recording directly with my Surface Pro 6. So the webcam and the mic are from that. Now you can see here, this article is by Roland Quant. This guy always breaks news in the kind of camera and smartphone world. I have translated it though, and looking at it, there's nothing really surprising here. It says it's going to have a 12 megapixel sensor that can record 4K at 60 frames per second. There's nothing really here that looks like it's going to encourage many people to jump up, but there are a few new features. It says here that it's got a record and request in RAW, time, wrap, slow motion, and a special night mode. It's never been good at filming at night. It also supports live streaming on YouTube and other platforms. Now, as far as live streaming goes, as a YouTuber, someone who records videos online, that is a feature I would upgrade for. I think it's something that most people would like to have, but I'll reserve judgment because I know that in most cameras it isn't really set up well. On the Sony action camera that I've got, it works with Ustream, but it doesn't really work that well. And I've tried things like this with other cameras in the past. More recently, I was looking at the Canon G7X3, and a lot of other people said the same, that streaming to YouTube was terrible. It was cutting out after 5 minutes and things like that. So hopefully I'm proven wrong. Hopefully it is quite good. It says that they've improved the hyper smooth image stabilizer there, Hyper Smooth 2.0. So they've got some pictures here, and it's going to be easier to show you in this page. Look at the pictures, it's the same, which isn't really a surprise. It means that if you've got a GoPro 5, 6 or 7, all your accessories, all your tripod, selfie sticks and all your other GoPro accessories, your mounts, your cam mounts, etc., all of these things will still work with the new design. So they've stayed with the same form factor, which kind of makes sense. Now, if you go down here, it talks about, if I bring it down here, it talks about, basically they've got like a new hinge, a new mounting plate, and it says it's here, a special feature of the new GoPro Hero 8 Black are the hinge mounting plates integrated at the bottom of the camera. These are simply folded down as needed and allow a direct connection with the abundant available accessories. The flap for battery and memory card therefore moves to the right edge of the case and can be reordered by the user as before. GoPro continues to provide water resistance to a depth of 10 meters. And they're talking about this GoPro Lite mod, which is a small LED lamp, and then they've got like a floaty shell thing here as well. So if I go down here, this light mod thing, it's a good idea, certainly in the dark. That GoPros are really, they're not the best in low light. But yeah, this is an interesting attachment, and I'm interested to see how this is taken advantage of. Maybe we'll see microphones taken advantage of, like really good microphones that you can put on the top. That would be a really cool feature. Perhaps even just a hot shoe mount or something. It'll be interesting to see what accessories come out of this new hinge. But yeah, time will tell. And I did kind of talk about some of the new features there, or some of the rumoured features as far as the ones up here. It says it's actually got H.264 and H.265 for compression as well. But yeah, as far as special night mode, as far as YouTube streaming and all of that's good. All of that is good. But as I said many times in the past, the microphones on GoPros are really poor, and hopefully they do improve the default mics. The fact that this microphone adapter still exists, that you need to attach this thing that's bigger than the camera itself, is a pain in the ass. And Sony, with their action cam range, have been getting the microphones right for a long time. I'm not saying the microphones are perfect, but they have a built-in 3.5mm headphone jack, and the microphone quality is actually quite usable. So yeah, these are all rumours at this point. We'll see what happens, but we should see it being announced quite soon. Now, what has just been announced today is the Huawei Mate 30 and the Huawei Mate 30 Pro. And this always kind of comes at the second half of the year. Earlier on in the year, you get the Huawei P20, P30, P20 Pro, P30 Pro. This is an absolute beast. Now, it says down here that this one will be €1,200. The CNET article says €1,100, and it says €800 for the Mate 30. So yeah, we'll see. But this thing's an absolute beast. You can see it here, 6.53-inch screen, 8GB of RAM. It's got the new Kirin 990, 4,500 milliamp battery. And if you scroll down here, it doesn't have a headphone jack, but it does have an OLED screen, 16 million colours, 409 pixels per inch, Gorilla Glass 6, HDR10, octa-core CPU, 128GB of storage, 8GB of RAM, or 256GB of storage. So the camera, this is of course what every smartphone company promotes. This has got a quad camera, 40 megapixel, 8 megapixel, 40 megapixel and a 3D camera. So it's got a 40 megapixel wide, 8 megapixel telephoto and 40 megapixel ultra wide, and then a 3D camera. Now if you look at the video here, this can do 4K at 60 frames per second. That's pretty amazing. But also here, I actually thought this was a typo. I thought there was something wrong when I saw this online. It can do 720p at 7,680 frames per second. So that is super slow motion. It's insane. Now, one of the things that perhaps was attracting me to the iPhone 11, and I think that if you look at the iPhone 11, I think it's quite underwhelming considering what other Android phones have done this year. But the one thing that does attract me to the iPhone 11, despite the fact it's overpriced, is that it does have 4K 60 frames per second from the front camera. Apparently, going by the specs here on GSM Arena, the Huawei Mate 30 Pro does not. It looks like it is 1080p at 30 frames per second. Now, it's a 32 megapixel sensor. I'm sure the camera quality is really good at the front, and I would be happy with 1080p at 30 frames per second if stabilization and things like that are pretty good. But it does look like, you know, in comparison to the iPhone's offering 4K at 60 frames per second from the front camera. So in that respect, the selfie camera, the front camera, kind of looks like it's lagging behind. But in other areas, I do think this is maybe a little bit ahead. Now, where it does seem to be doing well, it's got the infrared port, GPS, etc. 4,500 milliamp battery, but it's got 40 watts fast charging. That is something I raved about with my Huawei P30. The fast charging feature is amazing, but it's also got 27 watt wireless charging. Now, I'm not sure how that will translate to, you know, actual charging speeds. I don't think it will be the same as charging via a cable at 27 watts, but we shall see. At 1100 watts, this is a phone that's being positioned against the iPhone 11 Pro probably, and against the Samsung Galaxy Note range. So yeah, it's a top of the range phone, very expensive phone. Now the Mate 30, it looks like a quad camera on the back, but it's actually a triple camera here. Now you can see it here, it's got the 4 cameras here, but this one's a triple camera, and one of them is a laser focus. Well, that's what they're calling it. 6.62 inch screen, OLED display as well, 389 pixels per inch. It doesn't say Gorilla Glass 6 here, but I'm not sure how accurate these specs are. This one has got 6GB of RAM and 128 or 8GB of RAM. And here is the main camera, 40 megapixel wide, 8 megapixel telephoto, 16 megapixel ultra wide. And just to go back again to the other one, you can see this was 40 wide, 8 telephoto, and 40 ultra wide. So really the 40 ultra wide's went down to 16. And the other one is laser focus. Now this can also do 720p up to 960, but it doesn't have that ridiculous 7680 for 720p or 960 for 1080p. So the slow motion isn't as good, but it's not a feature that would actually convince me to buy a camera. Still 4K 60 frames at the back and 30 frames per second 1080p at the front. But if you look here, it isn't the same camera. So this one has got a 32 megapixel sensor for the front camera. This one is 24, and it says 24 megapixels f2.0. This one has a 32 megapixel wide and a 3D TOF camera, so a little bit different there. Again, no headphone jack. USB type C. Oh, this one, sorry, that's a mistake. This one does have a headphone jack. I've got that wrong. I do apologise for that. This one does have a headphone jack. I missed that earlier on. There it's there. Now I hope that's right. I'll need to look at that and confirm it later, but it does look like that is the case. Again, fast charging, 40 watts, fast wireless charging, 27 watts. It's got reverse wireless charging. That's another feature as well that this one has got. And it's got a 4,200 milliamp battery. So this one is €300 cheaper. And we'll see, yeah, you know, no reviews are out right now. I don't have the phone. I'm just talking about what was announced today. Now, obviously there's all the usual tech websites are talking about this, and this is a screenshot from the conference today, and you can see there the 4 different cameras there: ultra wide cine, super sensing wide, telephoto, 3D depth sensing. It's all there. ISO, what's that? 409,600, 45 zooming range, pro bokeh. A lot of people are raving about this and the fact that it's going to have amazing, amazing cameras, amazing photography, amazing filming. But I'll reserve judgment. It does look quite good though. This one's the triple camera. You can see this bottom left one is a laser focus rather than a 3D camera. This one's got a 3D depth sensing, if I can speak. Right, so yeah, and they both got the current 990. Now, one thing to note about both of these phones, the Huawei Mate 30 and the Huawei Mate 30 Pro, it says that they're 5G, but here, look at this. Launches with 4 cameras, 0 Google apps. And this is really, this is a leftover from what happened earlier on in the year. From what I understand, from the tit for tat, USA versus China trade war political thing, there were promises made that phones released earlier on in the year, such as my P30, will continue to get updates, but apparently the Huawei Mate 30 and 30 Pro will not have access to the Google Play Store, which means Gmail, YouTube, all these other apps will not be available on these phones. Now, they're already coming out and saying that you can side launch these things, and I'm sure there is a very, very simple workaround to this, that you can side load all your Google apps and it should be okay. This might raise security and privacy concerns for some people, and for other people, well, they just won't buy it. They just won't buy this phone. I think, this is a really big PR issue. It really is a big PR issue. I think probably there's a tutorial that says when you get your Huawei Mate 30 or 30 Pro, is you do this, A, B, C, and you get the Google Play Store, and then you could side load all your apps and everything works great, and there's enough RAM for everything to work perfectly. But try and market that. Try and market that you have got an Android phone that doesn't run Google apps. So effectively, Google can't stop Android being used because Google is open source, but they can stop all their own Google apps being used. So that is where the problems arise. I think that is a PR issue, and maybe that will make it harder for people, to pay the prices. That they've got the prices here. Forget it here. There is there. The Mate 30 will start at €799, about $885, £700, 1,300 Australian dollars. The Mate 30 Pro will be €1,099. So yeah, equivalent, and it looks to be an extra 100 for the 5G version. So yeah, maybe those prices are correct then if I'm looking at that one, if that one is the 5G version. Remember that is the 5G page. So yeah, we'll see what happens with that. With the GoPro Hero Black 8, it looks like it's more of the same. It looks like they've kind of improved a few areas like nighttime and all that. I hope they've improved the microphone quality. I hope the YouTube streaming thing is quite good, and I hope this new mounting plate can actually be used for more than just a light. Hopefully we're going to see lots of different mods. Hopefully there's a microphone mod. Hopefully there's some other mod out there that helps us get more from the camera. The Huawei Mate 30 and Huawei Mate 30 Pro, I think these look like fantastic cameras. I really do think they look amazing, but time will tell what they're like, and time will tell whether these things sell if people know that they have to sideload official Google apps. So not sure, but let me know what you think about it, guys. I hope you guys are doing okay, but please do leave a comment below. I'll leave a link to all of these pages so that you can check them out. But until then, guys, take care.